Hi, I'm Lovely Lore, a Lolita YouTuber, and this video seemingly has nothing to do with Lolita fashion, but there is a Lolita character, and a lot of Lolitas like it. Can you appreciate media, specifically fiction, separate from reality? Yes, I think so, but it is more difficult when the fiction is trying to portray realistic situations in a more realistic way. I know that everyone interprets and consumes media differently, but I am going to try to share my delusional strategies so that you can walk away from Nana with all of the things that you enjoy, but none of whatever this is. Yes, I am going to try to take a realistic drama and turn it into a escapist slice of life. How? By stopping when it's good. Sometimes I like to end a series before it's actually over and in my head give it a new canonical ending. And I'm sure many of you can find a series that you relate to on this. When do you stop watching Nana in order for it to not get depressing? I had no idea, so I asked on Instagram and no one else seemed to have any idea. Some people said to stop watching at episode 1, but actually nothing depressing at all happens in episode 1. Between episodes 27 to 29, if you know what's happening, the downfall of it all begins in episode 30. She is in a grocery store, she starts to have a tummy ache. Stop watching the series there. She goes home, her tummy ache goes away, she's fine, everything is good, everything stays the same. I think that after episode 30, Nana gets depressing in a way that never really recovers. There is darkness and sadness throughout the series, but it is often followed up by a payoff and something lighthearted, especially because you sort of see the end of Hachiko's storyline. This is especially heartbreaking because we have watched the story of the two Nanas throughout the series, and then it becomes sort of an ensemble piece, more about the band and the band members. But if you want to have an ensemble story, you should have it that way from the beginning, similar to how Paradise Kiss is. Now, if you want to appreciate this series without my commentary, the rest of the video is not for you, because I am going to deep dive into the episodes to show you what you can expect from them and how to appreciate them. This video is not a replacement for watching the anime. It is more of a bit of hand-holding so that you know what you're getting into when you watch the series or rewatch the series. I'm going to be talking about different things that could be upsetting so that you know certain episodes or sections to skip. I'm also going to be going through what happens in episodes 30 to 47 and how you can possibly recover from them. Who is Nana? Well, there's actually two Nanas. There's Nana Osaki and Nana Komatsu, who is nicknamed Hachi or Hachiko, and I will probably refer to her as that throughout the rest of this video so that you don't get confused as to which Nana I'm talking about. Fun fact, Nana is one of the ways you can say 7 in Japanese, and Hachi means 8, so it's like there's 7, 8. And Hachi is also nicknamed this after Hachi, the dog who waited for his owner at Shibuya Station to return. And that's all that I can say about it before I start crying. I can't think about it too much. Nana Osaki nicknames Nana Komatsu after Hachiko, the dog, because of her loyalty. Nana, the manga, started in a shoujo magazine called Cookie, and it ran from 2000 to 2009. A portion of the story was turned into an anime, which ran from April 5th, 2006 to March 27th, 2007. The manga went on hiatus in June 2009 when Ai Yawaza was hospitalized for an unspecified illness. When she left hospitalization in April 2010, she did not specify whether she would continue the manga. I have not sat down and read the entire manga. I have dabbled in reading onwards, but I still feel like even in the manga, it reaches a point where it's just depressing. And this video is not about the manga, it is about the anime. There are also 2 live action films, and if you don't want to get sad, just watch the first one. Nana isn't gay. I know, it's a massive disappointment when you see the memes and the fan arts and the edits. It looks like it would be a lesbian series, and it's not. But we love shipping a goth punky girl with a cute girly girl. And I have an unpopular opinion. That is, I feel like Nana doesn't need to be gay. We do need more queer representation, especially I feel like Japan is quite behind in accepting queerness as a whole. But I think that if Nana was a love story, it would be far less complex and interesting. I think that it is possible to develop immense feelings for someone and have them be such an important figure in your life that's often confusing because it's separate from sexuality and romance. And this is the type of relationship that the series explores between the two Nanas. And it is still open-ended, so it's possible that one day they may come together and be in love. It's also possible that they might not. I'm getting ahead of myself. We can explore and speculate later. I will be discussing the dubbed anime. I know, subs over dubs, I almost always agree, but there are a few series that I was introduced to the dub first, so to me that feels like the correct version. I feel this way with Nana, I feel this way with the Nelvana dub of Card Captors.
Okay, time to get changed. What do you mean? Come on, you're going out to capture a cloud card, am I right? Uh-huh. Well then, special occasions call for special outfits.
I feel actually like the Spanish Hamtaro version is the correct version because it was often released more frequently than the English dubs.
¿Entrometidos? Uy, ¿te refieres a Bocadini a mí?
I'm gonna be talking about the dub, I'm sorry. Because I am an American living in Canada, people always ask me what a Canadian accent sounds like, and if you want to hear a true Southern Ontario accent, it's Nana Osaki. There are times when she sounds so Canadian, but I do appreciate that this dub feels well cast, it feels genuine. They don't try to localize it the way that like the Nelvana Card Captors tries to kind of North Americanize the series.
Pancakes, anyone?
Ah! My dad found the cloud book at the university.
Here you go.
Nana's dub doesn't do that. Sorry if you prefer the subtitled version, and I feel like a lot of this advice will still be applicable to the subtitled version or a dub in a different language.
Where can you watch Nana?
I have no idea. This is where I was going to put a VPN sponsor if any of them had replied. It largely depends on your location, so I'm afraid you're on your own. But if you want to know where you can get cute clothes and dress cool in an array of different styles, this is a random overall warning. If you are trying to quit smoking or if seeing people smoke is something that will negatively affect you, do not watch this series because they make smoking look very cool and it is constant throughout the show. Smoking is a life-threatening, horrible habit. Do not pick it up. Why do they make it look so cool? It's so bad. It's so bad. Now let's go through the episodes. So I have my computer right here because there's no way that I could keep 47 episodes worth of information in my brain. So I am going to be referring to my notes. So if I leave frame or if I'm looking at something, you know what's going on. Episode 1, I think, is safe and fine. It's an establishing episode of the Nana's meeting, and they meet on a train in a snowstorm. Episodes 2 and 3 explore Hachiko's background, and it does show a relationship that she had with an older man in a position of power over her and her loss of that relationship and how she deals with it. And she's a minor, I believe, at the time. So if that is something that you may be upset by seeing or could bring up any feelings, skip those episodes. That's all you really need to know. You sort of see the relationships between her friends and her, and I go back and forth a lot on how I feel about this because her friends are so mean to her. I know that she also makes a lot of stupid mistakes constantly, so I get that they're trying to be supportive and maybe they're a little frustrated at her, but I feel like we just don't see enough of them supporting her in a nice way. Episode 4 explores Nana-O's backstory and her childhood and how she met Ren. I feel like it's a pretty safe episode. There is establishing of her unhealthy childhood and her lack of a relationship with her mom. They don't go into it too much, it's just lightly mentioned. Episode 5 continues Nana-O's backstory, and then episode 6 is literally the first episode. Well, I'm not sure because I watched this series back to back and I did not have the patience to watch episode 1 and then episode 6 to see if they were exactly the same, but they cover pretty much the same information. So if you don't want the backstory of the Nanas, you can skip it. I feel like their backstory is touched on throughout the series, so you don't really need it. So if it is topics that may be upsetting to you, you could skip it, start at episode 6, and still be okay and get the whole story. Episode 7, the Nanas move in together, and in episode 8, they are getting stuff for their apartment, and this is the infamous Strawberry Cups episode. And these two are a wholesome slice of life. This is all the nice stuff that we love about Nana.
Hi, welcome to the store.
They introduce a new band member to Nana's band Blast, or the Black Stones, and the Nanas kiss, and it's totally not gay, unfortunately. Episode 11 is more slice of life, but there is mention of money problems. Episode 12 is nice and slice of life, and this is where we get the famous line from Hachi that if Nana was a guy, she would be in love with him, and we start to explore those complicated feelings. Episode 13, I just wrote slice of gay starting Sheen's line about I wish you were gay.
Shane, who the hell have you been kissing? Nobu?
What? I never knew Nobu was into that kind of stuff.
Is he? No, but I thought it was entirely possible he might have been.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm straight.
Hey, Shoji, where have you been?
Shoji! I completely forgot about Shoji. Yeah, Hachiko's had a boyfriend this whole time, and there's like a side plot where he's been cheating on her. I just don't care about it. I couldn't care. Maybe it's upsetting if cheating's an upsetting thing. They're just so boring, and you know that Hachi deserves better. I always forget about Shoji. I forget about this storyline. I forget that he exists, but he does. And he cheats on her with a girl named Hachiko, who's really sweet, and I feel like a victim in all of this. In this episode, we also see Nana-O standing up to Shoji and yelling at him, fighting with him, and so I think this episode is pretty comforting and fun, but if you're dealing with a breakup or cheating, that might be upsetting. In episode 15, the Shoji and Nana breakup drama continues, and there is a brief mention of we are also introduced to Misato in this episode, who is the Lolita character, and she is a fan of Nana-O's band. And like, I feel weird about their dynamic. I feel like I'm not supposed to be weird, but it is strange that this like minor is hanging out with a bunch of band members. Like, as someone who now can't listen to any of my emo music the same, like, I really look at these like band fan dynamics, and I feel like it's not a good thing to share. Like, this girl should not be staying over with the Nanas, with adults. If she just wasn't a minor, it'd be fine. Like, if she was just a young adult, it still might be a little bit inappropriate that there's like an imbalance of power between like a fan and a band, but at least she could, you know, make those informed decisions as an adult, not a teenager. I feel like no one ever talks about this, but I just look at it and I'm like, she's really close to them. I don't know that she should be that close to them, even though it's like women, I don't know. Episode 16 is a slice of life episode, and this is when Ren comes back into the story because Nana and Ren split apart in order to pursue their own aspirations, which some people have noted that they think is sad, but I think that it's actually like nice. Like, that never bothered me because I always felt like they still loved each other and still would come back together. It's just the fact that they were putting their own aspirations first. Episode 17 is the Trap Nest concert, and then episode 18 is when Nana and Ren reconnect. Episode 19 is more fun slice of life stuff between the Nanas, and this is when Takumi meets Hachiko. And I've never thought about this before, but there is a lot of strange balance of power, fan dynamic relationships throughout this series. Episode 20, Hachiko is officially single and Takumi swoops in. Episode 21, Takumi spoils Hachiko and... In episode 22, they change the theme song and it becomes a Trap Nest theme song, which is the band that Ren and Takumi are in. I don't know if I made that clear. Blast Blackstones is Nana's band. In episode 22, Hachiko prepares this nice meal for Trap Nest. There's bonding between her and Nana, and she doesn't think that Takumi is going to come, but then he does end up arriving late, and they enjoy each other. In episode 23, Hachiko is being fought over. Maybe this could be a very stressful situation, but I think it's kind of fun to be fought over. Episode 24 explores Takumi and Hachi's relationship more. Nana is very understanding of them, and Nobu confesses his crush. And I am Team Nobu. There's also some Reira and Sheen underage discomfort, which I'm not even gonna go through. Again, if Sheen was just like an adult, it would be fine, but he's not, and his whole storyline is discomforting. It's raining. I wonder if you can hear the rain. It's still kind of raining, but I feel like it's less loud, so let's continue. In episode 25, we get more Reira and Takumi backstory, more information about Trap Nest. There is a standoff between Nobu and Takumi over Hachi, which again, it's so horrible when people really like you and are fighting over you. Oh no. In episode 26, Blast has a concert and suddenly they are quite famous. I feel like their level of fame doesn't really make sense, but you know what? We're condensing storylines from the manga into an anime, so sure, I'll let it slide. Hachiko kind of expresses abandonment, and I think that this could be upsetting to people who have abandonment issues. In episode 27, Blast feels bad for missing Hachi's food, and then they appreciate her and they acknowledge that they were in the wrong, which kind of makes up for the feeling of abandonment in the last episode, I feel. There are notes of depression expressed from Hachiko, but I feel like they are countered by nice things. I feel like it's not a fully depressing episode. It bounces back, and Nobu and Hachi have a nice moment together, and they rekindle their feelings. In episode 28, Hachiko claims that she wants to be Nobu's girlfriend, and I don't know if this is explored more in the manga, but I feel like Hachiko is more interested in the idea of love than actually feeling things towards like any of her partners. That's just the sense that I get from it. I don't know if she's truly passionate for any of these people or she just wants this idea of love. There is Sheen lore drop that he was raised by his father, and then Nana and Hachiko take a bath. That's not romantic at all. In episode 29, Hachiko is head over heels for Nobu. She's fully on the Nobu train. She's in love with Nobu. Nobu everything. It really hits the fan, and we should stop watching. If you want to just continue with the show as Hachi and Nobu are together, everyone continues the friend group together, you know, the Nanas stay living together, everything is good and nice. Stop in episode 30.
The first half of the series was narrated by Hachiko. Now the series is narrated from Nana-O's perspective.
We hear this episode through Nana's perspective, and we start to see redeeming qualities about Hachiko, because I feel like a lot of the series she just acts irresponsibly and impulsively, but from Nana's perspective we can see more of her positive attributes. And at the end of episode 30, we find out that Hachiko is pregnant. This creates a complicated situation between Nobu, Takumi, and Hachi, because Hachi was pretty much with Nobu, but they realized that the kid would not be Nobu's. The kid is likely Takumi's, and Takumi states that he's gonna take care of Hachi and the child no matter what the outcome is, if it's his or not, which is kind, but the ways that he goes about it are kind of distant and weird. I really deeply feel for Nobu. Takumi belittles him because Takumi is in like a better financial state than Nobu is. Episode 32, Shin is creepy with Reira. Episode 33, Nana runs to Yasu. And I haven't talked about this, but Yasu's the best character. He's so unproblematic and like kind, and I feel badly for him because I think that Nana uses him without really like being considerate of his own feelings and his own existence. Like, he's so perfect because he just puts Nana before everything else.
This is not realistic but a nice fantasy.
Episode 34 is rough because it is the episode where the strawberry cups break, and this is really like the ending of that first storyline of the Nana's life and situation. Like, that's all come to an end really, and Takumi and Hachi decide to get married, which Hachiko has often expressed like this longing to have a partner, I think to like be married. I think that seems like one of her big goals and dreams, but it definitely isn't the way that she wants it to be. And there is a bit of SA energy vibe situations between Takumi and Hachiko. In episode 35, Nana buys new cups, and it's just not the same because like what they represented is over. And then I just have this note that everyone is sad all the time and everything is sad. And now we're focusing on the bands. We're focusing on Blackstones. Episode 36, we see a little bit of Hachiko in her new life, knitting things for her child, her relation with Takumi.
Takumi cares for Hachiko by basically locking her away.
I bet your fiancé's about to lose it too, being so lonely.
Actually, it's quite the opposite. She sends me at least 10 text messages every day. Stuff like, I knitted socks. Sounds like she's having fun.
Yeah, whatever you say. Please just make sure you send her text messages too, okay?
I do. Knit some for Daddy.
Hachiko's story isn't sad because she has a kid. It's sad because from the anime's perspective, her life ends at having a kid. She is alienated. She is separated from her friend group. She's given nothing to do. This isn't a life that she's chose. Takumi kind of locks her away. She very well could have just stayed in her situation and raised her kid with all of the friends being like an extended family. According to the documented timelines, Hachiko meets Takumi June 7th and then realizes that she is pregnant August 29th. She changes the entire course of her life in one summer. It doesn't seem like Hachiko's ultimate goal was to be a mom, which there's nothing wrong with that if that is your dream, your goal, the thing that you want to accomplish in life is being a mother. That's totally respectable, but Hachiko didn't really choose this. She was thrown into this lifestyle by Takumi, and she was alienated by him as well. That's not cool, and not fun, and really sad. If you want to have a nuclear family, if that's something that's really important to you, and having kids, that is totally respectable. But I don't think that you need to lose your entire sense of self to do that. I think it's actually quite beneficial to have your own interests and hobbies and education to share with your kids, to show that you are a unique individual. I can't fully relate or give examples because I am childless. I have absolutely no interest in having kids at all whatsoever, ever. But I fully respect people who do. And I think that we have this lack of representation of moms in media having an existence outside of being a mom, and we need to show people that their life can continue to exist and be awesome and individual after the age of 30 and after having kids. There are so many cool moms out there that you don't even realize that they are moms. I understand too that you have to be in a certain position of privilege to even have kids or to have help with your kids and daycare. But I do think that you can still have your own sense of self, even if your priorities change. For example, maybe Hachiko had to take a few years to just focus on her child, but once that kid is in school and has other things to do, Hachiko could easily go get her own job, go have her own hobbies. She could be more involved with Blast again, especially considering that Takumi's like rich. I just wish that the anime didn't portray motherhood like a death sentence. This is coming from someone who doesn't even want to have kids. In episode 38, Nana goes to visit Hachiko and she's unable to. Takumi is keeping her from her, and Nana also gets paparazzi'd with Ren. Nana had been keeping her relationship with Ren private from the public because she didn't want to be seen as like, I guess, an industry plant or like to have connections to Trapness. She wanted to gain her own footing and popularity just based on her own merit. In episode 39, Takumi is really disrespectful to Hachiko. He shows that he doesn't really care about her thoughts or feelings. This episode is also a lot about like the PR control and trying to navigate the situation of Nana and Ren's relationship getting out, and Nana sends a message to Hachiko on TV. Like, watching this felt so dragged out and I didn't want to do it, and even just relaying it to you, I just don't even want to talk about it. Episode 40, Misato is in a hotel with Nana and they are continuing Blast's debut, which, like, how are they so famous if they're just debuting? I don't understand. Then I just have written here, boring, boring, boring. Takumi has a lady in London. The band is going to London. Takumi is getting a ring for Hachi and her ring size is 4, which I was like, that girl has tiny fingers. Or maybe sizing in Japan is different, but like 4 seems small, like a child. I don't know. If anyone is curious, my left hand ring finger size is 9. This is because I broke my left ring finger in middle school and the knuckle healed slightly larger. My right hand ring finger size is 8. I'm open to any proposals. Doesn't mean I will say yes, but I'll take rings. And you know what I would really love? If you've stuck around this video for this long, please subscribe or check that you are still subscribed. Thank you, love you. Nana wants to like rekindle her friendship with Hachiko, but don't get your hopes up. In episode 41, Hachiko goes home and Blast is in a training camp. In episode 42, Nana's family meets Takumi. Blast returns from their training camp. Nana-O becomes suspicious of the label, and they're in these sort of like dorms for the label. And there's a
adult actress.
Another one of the dorms, and Nana experiences a panic attack, which is very relatable. I think that the way that they talk about it and they show it is very relatable. In episode 43, Nana expresses that she's never had a panic attack before. She's really like struggling with this anxiety. Nobu gets depressed and connects with a fish tank girl. I literally have her just listed as fish tank girl. She has a fish tank, that's cool. I like fish tanks. The Black Stones perform this spontaneous concert and Hachiko is able to see it in the crowd, so she's able to kind of reconnect with them from a distance, like for herself. They don't really get the benefit of her seeing it. Hachiko wants to change her wedding dress after it's already been ordered, which is like, you're just displaying more of your annoying tendencies, I'm sorry. Episode 44, Blast is playing on TV with Trapness, and Ren and Nana are both unstable when they are apart. They're really reliant on each other. And in this episode, Ren proposes to Nana. In episode 45, Blackstones has their actual concert and it is on TV and everyone is watching and they interview the bands. Holy shit, like, is this over yet? Oh my god. In In episode 46, Hachiko and Soji have a reunion, which I feel like is just so unnecessary. It's just to be like, wow, look at me, how I've done so much better in my life. Wow, look at how my life has gotten so much better. Like, just sometimes certain exes, like, you just don't ever need to rekindle anything. Like, you don't need to flex to each other. It's unnecessary. And Shoji, like, says goodbye to her and also talks about how he has fun with her. Like, shut up, go away, you're so forgettable. The last episode, finally, this is over. For me, it's been over since episode 30. Why are we just rubbing salt in the wounds? This takes place 6 or 7 years later, and Hachiko's kid is 6 years old, and they're all getting back together at the apartment that the Nanas lived in, which for some reason they've kept, I guess, because Takumi's rich and he just decided to, like, keep it, which is lame. Like, why not give that opportunity to other young people who are struggling, whatever. They get all back together and all nostalgic, and they watch the fireworks. It does go back to the regular timeline, and Hachiko mourns that she never really had the chance to heal from anything. She never really had the chance to heal from Shoji. She never had the chance to really grieve and understand her situation with Nobu, and she's just stuck with Takumi, and she's been disconnected from the friend group and from Nana, and it all just sucks. They think that Nana's not going to come to the fireworks, but she does. Nana is a coming-of-age story. It's just set in a different life stage than we typically see. A lot of anime focuses around high schoolers, so you'll see that sort of teenage to adult transition or even child to teenager transition. But Nana takes place in that sort of young adult to adult life transition. It's showing what it's like to go out into the world on your own for the first time and establish yourself, and how your priorities and relationships will change during that time. This series explores the life cycle of a friend group from coming together and then drifting apart, which, if your focus is on maintaining and trying to recreate the same events, the same relationships over and over, that's going to be really depressing. And I think that you can appreciate that time period separate from trying to relive it, because I don't think reliving any parts of your life is realistic. And I think that it's ultimately going to lead you to be sad. I think that people get lost in sort of looking back at parts of their life and cherishing those memories, which is good, but they want to bring that back and they idealize it. Whereas if you think about it, before you had those experiences, you didn't know that you were going to have those experiences. So then what you're going through right now, you might look back on fondly, and you cannot predict what good things, what good people are going to come into your life in the future. I think that this show can also be a comfort to you if you allow yourself to be sad, because this transition can be incredibly devastating and hard on you to accept and let go of. For me, my hardest breakups haven't been with romantic partners, they've been from friends. If you watch this series, specifically the latter half, and you allow yourself to grieve, I think that it can be really relatable and oddly comforting. But you cannot get lost in it. You have to continue to think, well, I can start new friendships and have new experiences that are going to be just as good as these ones. I'm not sure if coming of age is even a relevant term, because in life you don't just make one transition. You're constantly making transitions. Things are constantly changing. We are always adapting to new situations. So your story is never going to be just one story. We are only looking at a brief period of the Nana's lives. This is about the span of a year. There is so much that could be explored when you think about their past, their present, their future. This is why I think it's beneficial for Nana to remain on hiatus forever, to not come back, to not have an ending. Because was it even really meant to ever end? I mean, it was created to be in a magazine, and when magazines were being published, there was no end date. They were just gonna continue on forever and ever. I don't know if any definitive ending to Nana would be more satisfying than an open-ended one, where you could consider that the friendships could come back together, and in your own canonical version, you could have the Nanas reconnect and fall in love, because stuff does happen to Ren, and that is no longer feasible. Maybe Nana and Hachiko and Yasu could be in a throuple. I'm sure there's lots of fan fiction you can read about that. People will drift in and out of your life, and I think that there is always the chance that they may re-enter it in a different type of role, maybe a different dynamic, or maybe the same. The friends that I value the most are people I can go a long time without seeing, and then we hang out again and it's like nothing ever changed. I think that also there's people who are only meant to be in your life for a certain period of time and they won't be rekindled, but you can still appreciate what that was. That's how you watch Nana without being sad, either in a vacuum where this is just a fun slice of life section of the Nana's experiences and taking all the good from it, or continuing and imagining what other good things are yet to come for them. I know that I have basically told you the whole story of Nana, but there is so much more to this anime and this manga. I really recommend you watch it or read it. You will get so much more from it. Just experiencing it is very different than me explaining it. I hope that this has helped comfort you in absorbing this story, and please seek it out and enjoy it for yourself. This video was so much work. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I have a Patreon with extra content, and at the second tier, you can join my Discord server, and we've been talking about Nana a lot there, so if you want to continue the conversation, head over there. Takumi spoils Hachiko, and at face value, it's kind of fun and cute, but knowing where the story goes, it's hard to appreciate. I feel like when I'm separate from Nana and I go and rewatch it, I kind of enjoy seeing the spoils of their relationship, and he gives very much like
Thank you, Daddy!
energy. But then on this rewatch, I just I didn't see any good aspects to Takumi. I just hated him the entire time. I think how I feel about it like changes every rewatch.